For lesson 3, we're going to be building the surface for the table and constructing a knob. So right now we are in the southwest isometric view. And we want to check our settings. So go to the settings, and it's important that you have the same settings here. So if you go to the object snap, make sure that you have the object snap tracking and have that selected, and then the midpoint also on the object snap, and press enter. And first thing we're going to do is construct the surface. So in 3D we're going to select the box, or just go ahead under the solid surfing and select the box icon, and we're going to put the first coordinate of the work surface is going to be minus 3.25 comma, that was for the x, and the y is going to be minus 2.5 comma, and then the work surface is going to start at 26.5, which is going to be the top of the leg. So type those coordinates in, and then put your mouse in the window and move it. And then we're going to type in corner, which is going to give us the opposite corner. And press enter. And then for the other corner, we're going to type in 23.75, comma, 21.5, comma, and then the same height, which is going to be 26.5. And it wants to know the height. So you can take your mouse and see what it's trying to do, but we're just going to type in 1, so it's going to be coming up the z-axis. And you're going to want to inspect the work surface and make sure that it is even and that the legs do not protrude through the top. So easiest way to do this is go to a front view and go to 2D wireframe, and you can see in this case it seems to have worked. There's nothing going through the work surface. And if I go in the isometric, I don't see anything also. When I go to conceptual, there's nothing protruding through the work surface. And so now let's go to our layers. You can either do it from the ribbon above or type in layer. Once you have the layers window open, we're going to be adding some layers. So you can either adjust this window as needed or move it around. And then on the icon, there's a little symbol above what appears to be a layer. And we're going to change it to top. And then we'll click on the icon above again, and we're going to type in drawer, and that's all we need. And let's close out the layer display window. And so if you select the item and then right click and hit properties, there's a feature here in the layers where you can turn the layers off. Another way to do it, to see what layer it's on, is go to the layers and then just turn the light bulb off for the layer. In this case we'll turn the layer for the top off, and you'll notice that the top disappears. And so in many cases, especially we're going to be building, it helps. So let's type in layer again, and you'll see it's off, and we can turn it back on as needed. This helps when you are putting things in layers, just to confirm it's where you think it is. And the checkbox actually would be to make that a current layer. So now let's get into the right view. And so when you get into the right view, we want to make sure that we're in 2D wireframe. And so the right view will mean that the front of the drawer is on the left. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the front, and we're going to construct a knob. And the easiest way to do that is to locate the Polyline Tool and select the Polyline Tool from the icon. And if you leave it over there, it actually should tell you what it is. You can also type in P-line. And then let's go ahead and first click into the window in front of the drawer, and then move your mouse down, and we're going to type in 0.25. And then we're going to move your mouse to the left and type in 0.5 for half an inch. And now what this Polyline tool lets us do is we're going to right click on it, and you can also click on to the window below, but we're going to have an arc, and we're going to make a part of a circle, and then we're going to bring it over to the left and up about 1 3/4 inches or 1.75 over along that axis from where we started, and then click it, and then you want to right click and hit enter. And so what you're seeing is the profile of half of the knob. And so once we have that, the nice thing is actually we can go back and adjust it if needed. What we're going to do is find the revolve icon, which is below the extrude icon here. Or you can simply, in the command line below, type in revolve, R-E-V-O-L-V-E. Now, so we're going to revolve this around a line, the center of this. So we're going to select the item and press enter, and then go from the starting point to the end, and we want this to go all the way around, so it's going to be 360 degrees, which is what it defaults to, and press enter. And so you have a knob of sorts here. So you can change it if you want to, and change the profile of the knob after you construct it. This also helps. Sometimes you want to make it larger. You can do this as a solid surface also. However, we're going to want to inspect this in 3D because more than likely it has not lined up to the center of the drawer. It never really does when you do it in the method that I did here. So let's look at this in 3D. And there you see the knob is sticking out, but it's kind of free floating in space. So the easiest way to do this is to actually put a line in the center of the drawer. And the easiest way to do that is to work in the 2D wireframe, or the hidden works too with the wireframe. Find your line tool and move it to the front center of the drawer and go straight down, and it should tell you when you find the midpoint, 3D midpoint, and press enter. And if you have in the preferences selected for the midpoint, when you move this, you can snap it right on. So either from the icon or down below on the command line, type in move, and then press enter. And then we're going to go ahead and select the object that we want to move, which is the knob. And you might want to zoom in, but we're essentially going to the center of the knob on the rear of that cylinder. So in the views, you can zoom in, or you can just zoom in with your mouse on a PC, and then type in move and select the item, and you should see some crosshairs appear. And at that cross, go ahead and move it to the midpoint, and then press enter. And you really need to inspect this, obviously, to make sure it is where you think it is on that construction line. And there it is. So you've completed the lesson on creating the work surface, and let's go ahead and turn the surface back on in the layers. And then you've also constructed the knob, and visually make sure that you inspect it and that everything is where it should be, and you've completed the third exercise.